Amid a slew of socio-political, economic, security and foreign policy challenges, the chief of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI), Imran Khan, takes over as Pakistan Prime Minister. As soon as he grabbed the seat in Islamabad, Khan looked forward to improved ties with neighbouring India and Afghanistan, which Pakistan has had fraught relationship with for over many decades. The already strained ties stumbled when Pakistan-based terrorists attacked an Indian army camp in 2016, killing dozens. Indian army had later retaliated with a surgical strike on Pakistani soil. While addressing a press conference in Islamabad, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who held the same portfolio from 2008 to 2011 under Pakistan People's Party government, urged New Delhi to step forward in direction of dialogue.
और हिंदुस्तान की वज़ीर ख़ारजा से मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि हम दो न सिर्फ हमसाए हैं, हम दो एटमी क़ुव्वतें हैं। हमारे दरीना मसाइल हैं, उन वसाइल से आप भी वाकिफ़ हैं और मैं भी वाकफ़ियत रखता हूँ। हमारे पास मेरी राय में गुफ्त शुनीद के अलावा कोई और हल नहीं है।
Pakistan's relationship with Afghanistan have also been on tenterhooks, mainly due to accusation by Kabul that Pakistan does not adequately prevent cross-border terrorist attacks and has been supporting Afghan Taliban. Pakistan government has pointed towards a complete review of its foreign policies. The minister said that he would visit Kabul in the near future, taking him with a message of friendship and new beginnings.
अफगानिस्तान के लोगों को कहना चाहता हूं, हम एक दूसरे की ज़रूरत हैं। हमने एक दूसरे का सहारा बनना है और हमने एक दूसरे की मुश्किलात को न सिर्फ समझना है, उनका हल तलाश करना है। और हम में सलाहियत है कि हम बायलैटरली मिल बैठकर अपने मसाइल का हल तलाश करें।
Owing to its unrelenting support to extremism and terrorism, Pakistan has virtually been cornered internationally. Of late, it has found itself getting isolated. The country is also facing the possibility of being blacklisted by Financial Action Task Force, an international body that monitors the funding of designated terror organizations. However, the immediate and the biggest challenge in front of Islamabad lies is to dismantle the factory of terrorism, which has been operating under its patronage for decades. The terrorists and terror emanating from Pakistan have been dampening the peace and harmony in India and Afghanistan. And a major challenge for newly elected cricketer turned Prime Minister of Pakistan is to maintain peace in the region by eliminating terror from its soil.
Soon after Imran Khan was sworn in, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi sent a congratulatory message to his counterpart, which according to Pakistan leadership was indicative of a dialogue initiation between the two countries. We are now joined by Tilak Devashar, an Indian diplomat turned author who has an expertise over Pakistan's domestic and external affairs. His book Pakistan at the Hem was recently launched in Indian capital New Delhi. Mr. Devashar, Pakistan's newly elected Prime Minister Imran Khan has extended an olive branch to India and Afghanistan. Do you think Pakistan is really willing to walk the talk this time or just repeating the rhetoric of the past?
You see, whenever there is a new government, either in Pakistan or anywhere else, it provides an opportunity to make these statements that sound very good. But unless and until there is a follow-up after the government is in the governance mode, these statements will just be that, good intentions rather than anything else. So I would not at the moment read too much into these statements. I would wait and watch to see what comes from these statements, whether it is carried forward or not, or whether they just remain at the level of statements.
Mr. Devashar, what according to you is the immediate challenge in front of Imran Khan and how his government should be working in order to counter it?
See, the immediate challenge for Imran Khan is, 2-3 very major issues. First is that he himself has to come out of the dharna or the protest mode that he has been in the last 5 years, and he has to settle down into governance. He faces a wafer-thin majority in the National Assembly. This force is 176 votes he got, and the majority is 172. He has to consolidate his position and make sure that it's a stable government. And third, I think, will be the economy. The Pakistan's economy is on a very slippery slope, and they will have to approach the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, for a massive bailout for about almost $10 to $12 billion. And they'll have to negotiate with the IMF, and the IMF is bound to put some very strong conditionalities before giving that loan. So the economy will be a real priority for him. He will also have issues like the civil-military relations. How much will the army concede space to him, and how much he will be able to wrest control from the army. So these are just the immediate issues. The long-term issues of Pakistan in terms of water, in terms of education, in terms of population, these are very serious issues, and I've written about them in my book. Far more serious issues, and then it will take him time to resolve these issues.
It is being alleged that Imran is a puppet of the deep state of army. How true, according to you, is that? And do you think Imran will be able to run country and form policies at his own wishes?
You see, it is certainly true that the army did carry out what's called political engineering to clear the path for him and to make sure, one, that the Nawaz Sharif's party PMLN did not come back to power. They smoothened the way for him. But if you look at Imran Khan's own character, I don't think so he will be a puppet. He will certainly not be a willing puppet. He's a man of his own. He's very determined. He has a lot of focus and a lot of determination. So I think somewhere down the road, if he is pushed too hard, the army may find that this is not a very comfortable puppet to work with. So yes, the army has, and he's also aware of the fact that he's been brought into power because of the engineering done by the army. The army will allow him space. They will allow him time to continue to do policy, especially on the domestic scene, not so much in the foreign affairs. But if there is a conflict, and I don't know, let's see if there is a conflict or not, because Imran Khan is a very determined person and he is his own man.
It is a well-established fact that Pakistan has been nurturing terrorists and providing them a safe haven on its soil. Do you see Islamabad formulating a stronger policy regarding this in the future, especially at a time when it is finding itself getting isolated at the global stage?
Pakistan will not do this willingly. The army or the establishment or the deep state, whatever you call it, they will not do it willingly. But right now, the international community has started exercising a lot of pressure on Pakistan. You may have heard of something called the Financial Action Task Force, which is for countering terrorism financing and anti-money laundering. They have put Pakistan on the grey list, and Pakistan has to fulfill certain conditionalities very soon over the next 1 year, including legislative enactments, to make sure that they don't get on the blacklist. Coming on the blacklist means that their economic relationships with the rest of the world will get into question. So, because of these compulsions and the pressure of the international community, Pakistan will be forced to take a look again at its policy of supporting terrorists for foreign policy purposes, both against India and in Afghanistan. Whether they actually manage to do something concrete, time will tell. But yes, there is pressure on Pakistan, not that they're willing to do it on their own, but because of the international pressure, which must be sustained if Pakistan is to stop supporting terrorists.